All right, thank you for joining us to learn how to do a deeper dive into companies. There are a few methods to do deeper dives. The most talked about one is reading the 10K. What's the 10K? It's the annual document that every company is required to put out in order to explain to investors in more detail about the company, okay? There are many parts of the 10K, but you can get in their own words and you can look at their footnotes to see what are hidden gems in there. So for example, a few years ago with Southwest Airlines, I started to get interested in Southwest Airlines and I read their 10K. The thing I read in there that really piqued my interest was they talked about the 737 Dreamliner issue they were having, or whatever, the 737 MAX issue they were having. And they said in there, this cost us $878 million last year. And I remember looking at it going, damn, they already had record profit of 2.1 or 2.2 billion, and that already cost them 800. This is a hidden value here because that was a one-time issue. So I was able, when I read the 10K, I saw that in there. There's going to be risks involved. And a lot of that's just generic boilerplate stuff. But some of the things you can get from the 10K is things like any sort of debt levels they might have that might not like, or concentration of clients. You might sit there and say, okay, they might disclose, hey, 80% of our business comes from this one client. That's something you should know. You should understand that risk involved in there. So you might be saying, where do I get the 10K? Very simple. Pull up your company in our software, go to Microsoft, right there, annual reports. It takes you right to the SEC website. You just click the 10K thing and find the most recent 10K. Open it up, and guess what you got? 150 pages of absolute glory.
And so much fun.
Now, it is boring, but the smaller and smaller the company is, I truly, truly believe you need to read these more and more.
For companies the size of Microsoft, you probably don't need to go too deep into this.
I agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
Guys, in full disclosure, my laziness has got me to focus on bigger companies because I don't want to read every 10K out there. Now, if I read 10Ks, I'd probably learn an awful lot about business. You know, Warren Buffett always talks about that. Read 10Ks, read annual reports. And there is a slight difference in the annual report as a 10K. The annual report is kind of like the glitzy, glamoury marketing tool that they kind of consolidates everything in the 10K and puts it in there. And they're going to have cute graphics and make you feel all warm and fuzzy. Look at this. The 10K, as you can see right here, is boring as F. Look at how boring this is.
It's super small print.
Super small print, risk factors. One of the main parts of the 10K, though, I want you to look at, management's discussion and analysis of financial condition and results of operation, often called the MD&A. This is where they will talk in their own language about the company. So you'll get to be able to see this. Now, again, reading one 10K of the company isn't going to do you much. It'll give you an idea, but what you want to see is how they operated over the last 5-10 years. Have they hit their goals? Have they not hit their goals? Are they because at the end of the day, you're going to make your decisions based on what they're saying about the future. But if you look at the 10Ks of the past and they made all these assumptions about the future that didn't come to fruition, what are you going to do, Mo?
It's all talk.
All talk, right?
Mm-hmm. They're going to cheerlead themselves, of course.
Like when Mo tells me, Paul, I'm going to be at this location at this time, what do I think?
I'm not going to be there.
That's not true. I absolutely know you're going to be there, right? When Nicole, your fiance, says, Paul, I'm going to be there at this time, what do I think?
Wait 15 minutes and then she'll be there.
Exactly. Just like you in your life, you have reliable people in your life and you have unreliable people. When you are in need of something, do you go to the reliable people or unreliable people?
Reliable.
Of course. And when it comes to investing your money, you're going to want to focus on the people that are sitting there that are reliable. So like another way to look at things is listen to their calls every single quarter.
Yeah.
That's actually probably more fun for most people than reading.
Yes, definitely.
You can get an idea of how does a company talk. One thing I hate is if they use a lot of cliches. Mm-hmm. Oh, we're doing strategic alliances and we're backwards synergies. And I just hate AI is now the new thing, right?
Yeah.
But that's a great way to get an idea of what matters to the company. What are they focusing their calls on? What are they looking at in the calls to sit there and say, listen to this?
Yeah,
Go ahead, Mo.
Is it fluff or is it actual real stuff? Because if they're just, it's a bunch of fluff and it sounds great, be a little bit leery about that.
Now, for our software, our plan for the future is to have all the conference calls, all these things. That's all part of a plan. But in the meantime, one of the things you can do is go to Seeking Alpha, and they have a lot of these calls, a lot of these transcripts, et cetera, that allow you to read or listen to them.
Yeah, or the company's website.
Or the company's website, very simply.
So also, for deeper dives, what I like to do is go and get people's opinions. So we obviously have the community. That's a great place to go. But going to see other people's opinions, Seeking Alpha, the websites like Guru Focus, Motley Fool. People can come on here, the Value Investors Club, and what is this one? Value Forum. They put their own opinions about things. Don't take them for the gospel, but see what the bulls are saying. See what the bears are saying. They're probably going to pull out something that you weren't thinking about or make you think of something you weren't thinking about. And it's a great place to go. Take everything with a grain of salt. Everybody has an opinion, but it's a good place to go to start seeing different opinions from your own.
You know, for example, for me, when I read other people's opinions, I want to see how generic are their ideas and how focused their ideas. Are they just reacting to a recent stock fall or stock increase? Are their ideas more focused on the story, the numbers, or a combination of both?
And I will say, you're going to see, especially on places like Seeking Alpha, the same authors over and over. Get a feel for what that author says. Are they constantly a bull about everything? Are they constantly a bear? Are they always doom and gloom? Make sure you take what the author, you know what the author's kind of mindset is like, so you don't fall into a trap.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So guys, when it comes to a deeper dive, one of the best ways, honestly, is our community.
Yep.
Because a lot of people here love reading. I mean, we have Dalton, who's going to come work for us soon, because he loves doing these deeper dives. I don't. But I know what questions to ask about a company. So as he pulls back the layers, I can ask more and more questions. And the same thing happens in our community. Focus on what your method, what you focus on. What is your trait that keeps you away from the rest? What isolates you from everybody else who goes, I'm really good at this? Focus on that. And then join the community so you can find other people who are going to lift you up in the areas you're not very good at. That's the big key. So for me, I know what questions to ask, and I can look at numbers very quickly, but I hate digging into the research and saying, what's the answer to this? What's the answer to that? I'm just like you. Because I'm sure you're listening to this now going, man, I'm the same way. Awesome. And that's a big reason why I love this community, because I even go in the community and say, hey, did anybody see what's the reason for this? And I ask the questions because I don't want to do that work, but I know some questions to ask. So in this, when you're reading the 10K, when you're listening to the calls, it gives you a way of understanding the business. And over time, guys, business is just like you. There's money in, money out, potential for growth, potential for fall, debt, etc. Businesses are no different than managing your personal life. So the more and more you listen, the more and more you read, the better and better understanding you'll have about business and specific industries. So guys, we've made it this far. Next video, Mo is going to tell you how to set up your brokerage account and make your first stock purchase.